I want to talk about feeling a prayer. So, growing up, I was a huge lover of Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. I read the whole series. I would stay up all night long so that I could just devour the series. And then I got to watch the films again and again. Well, one of the things that I loved that Anne talked about was she was describing, do you ever just feel a prayer? You feel the prayer to God. Sometimes things just can't be put into words. And I always had that in the back of my mind, but I never did it like that. It was just something that I thought Anne did, that she just would feel the prayers of happiness and gratitude. Well, there have been times in my life, especially as an adult, that I was just too overwhelmed or too stuck in a space of an experience of pain, such as a migraine, where words were failing me, but feelings were there. And so I started just feeling a prayer. I would just give all these feelings to God, and I found that He would give me back something else. And sometimes those would come into the form of words, and I just started doing it before I even had a conscious awareness that I was feeling this prayer towards Him. Well, then I was reading this book, Letters to Malcolm by C.S. Lewis, and it's all about prayer. And he says in here that I believe I tended to, let me go back a little bit further. For many years after my conversion, I never used any ready-made forms except the Lord's Prayer. In fact, I tried to pray without words at all. Let me grab my glasses. Not to verbalize the mental acts. Even in praying for others, I believe I tended to avoid their names and substituted mental images of them. I still think the prayer without words is the best if one can really achieve it. But I now see that in trying to make it my daily bread, I was counting on a greater mental and spiritual strength than I really have. To pray successfully without words, one needs to be at the top of one's form. Otherwise, the mental acts become merely imaginative or emotional acts, and a fabricated emotion is a miserable affair. He says, when the golden moments come, when God enables one really to pray without words, who but a fool would reject the gift? And it was neat when I read this because I thought, gosh, I've been doing this little bits by little bits, and I never thought of it as a higher form of prayer before. That was a really cool kind of visual. He also talks later in here about what do we visualize when we're praying? Are we actually visualizing God's face? What are we seeing? Sometimes it's blobs of light. And I had a whole discussion with my husband about that because I thought, gosh, I never put into words what I do, what I visualize. And so I'll kind of share, and then I would love your thoughts and comments below. Just tell me, what do you think? What do you visualize? And have you ever felt a prayer? So sometimes I have visualized actually going and touching God's knees, kind of like, I'm leaning on your knees right now. I really need you to pay attention to me. Sometimes I have felt like I've come to His throne and I see Him on a throne because I'm just feeling so much of that. I'm not worthy. You're the one I need. Sometimes I have visualized me holding His hands. Just hold my hand through this right now. Sometimes I just look up and I'm not having any picture of Him. I'm just sending it out into the ethers as a here is my prayer kind of visual. So those are a few things just right off the bat, but I would love to hear, let's have a conversation. Tell me, what do you think?